Hello, this is Garrett Keane and I'm about to do a short tutorial on loops, using loops in Visual Basic for applications. So if I click in here, I'm opening up a file that you're going to have in your directory called loop examples blank. If I click on developer, Visual Basic, and I'll see that down here I have the form which is already there. The first one we're going to do is a fairly simple example looking at how to output numbers 1 to 10 onto this text box here. To enable you to output values on different rows, you have to come here and make sure that if you click on the text box here, make sure that the multi-line property, which is down here, is set to true. By default it will be false, but you have to make sure that it's set to true. So if you look at this frame here, we're going to just look at the first frame. This is called text loop 1, the frame for the output. The frame itself, if I click on it, if I click out here and click on the frame is called F or A for frame loop 1. This button here is command loop 1 underscore 1. This is command loop 1 underscore 2, and of course command loop 1 underscore 3. So the first one we're going to do is output all the numbers from 1 to 10 in sequence, and then we're going to output the odd numbers between 1 and 10 and the even numbers between 1 and 10. Okay, in fact I just spotted a mistake here because I never changed that before. This should say even. Okay, if I click in here like so, it automatically comes in with private sub command loop 1 1. So I'm going to need to declare some variables. So for the loop variable I'm going to use I, so declare that as an integer. And also what I'm going to do is, we haven't done it before, but I'm going to put in this command at the top. And this means that you can't use a variable unless you actually declare it as an integer, whatever type it is. Also we're going to need a string, because we're going to output a string to the text box that I talked about earlier. So this is your output string. Then I put in a comment with the quotation mark and I say start of loop. And because it's a comment, it comes up as green, so it will be ignored when VBA is running through it. And then I'll start the loop. So I start the loop for I is equal to 1 to 10. And I come down here and I close it off with next I. So it's always good practice to put the next I straight away. And then I come in and I indent 1 space, 2 spaces, and I write output string is equal to output string plus I. Okay, and what I'll do is I'll run through this program first and show how it works. I'm sorry. What that'll do is it'll build up a string as it goes through the loop. We'll step through it with the debugger to see how it works, and the answer we're going to put out here is output string. So we're going to put that string out onto the text box when the loop is finished. So if I step through this line by line with the F8 button, I start with F8, I click output numbers 1 to 10, and it's going to bring me in and I can debug it line by line. So I step through it and it skips the declarations and it comes here and it says for I is equal to 1 to 10. Now there's a very useful window called the immediate window, which is here, and I'm going to use that down here. I press F8, and if I come up here I see that I now has the value 1. In the immediate window it's very useful for seeing what values a variable actually has. So I can come down here and output string, like so. And now if I press enter, output string is empty because I haven't executed this line yet, but if I execute this line, oh, it's coming up with a mismatch, so I'm going to have to, I'm using the wrong symbol. I should use the ampersand for concatenation. So if I then do it like so, and I come down here and execute this line, 1 and 1. So this string contains the value 1. I run it again. I now takes the value 2, you're iterating through the loop until you reach the maximum value. So now what it's going to do is it's going to take whatever value is already an output string and it's going to add the value I to it. So now if I come down here to see what we have, it's added I is 2 and now it's 1 and 2. Now I'll run through it the whole way. I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4, and then I'll print output I in string. So when I is equal to 4, the output string is 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see there's no spaces here, so we're going to have to add those in. So I go again. I now has the value 5. And if we print off output string, it's added the character 5 to the end of the string. So it's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I now has the value 6. I come here, output string has the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't even need to print it off because I can just put the cursor there. And you can see it's saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I now has the value 7. Output string is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll go all the way to the end. That's 8, 9, and the last one, 10. Now I has reached its maximum value defined over here as 10. So it won't go through the loop anymore. It's going to exit the loop now. You see it moves down here. And it takes that string and it puts it out there. If I just minimize this, you can see the string is out in that text box. Of course, the problem here is, you want them on separate lines. So how do we do that? Well, the way that works is if I come and open it again, come here, and what we can do is just use the ampersand again for concatenation. That's where you add strings together. And we use a VB new line. And it's a reserved wording in Visual Basic for applications. And the new and the L the N and the L go to capitals, and it's correct if you write it like that. If I run it now, I can just run it with the F5 button. I press this, and you can see with the VB new line, at the end of each line, it forces it on to the next line. Okay, we finished that one, so thank you for listening. Oh, sorry, actually I'll do this one here. So if we output the odd numbers between 1 and 10, if I click here, I can do the odd numbers. All I have to do here is take the code from here. I can go edit, copy. I can click in here, I can say edit, paste. And you can see we have the same code, but the only difference I need here is we're looking for the odd numbers. So if we start at 1 and we're going to step 2, we're going to put in the command step 2 here. So if I step through here now, F5 like this, but I'll run this program this time. You can see that it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. If I run it again, but this time I do F8. Okay, where am I? I need to reset it, and if I do sorry. If I click into the code, and I do F8 when we're in there, it comes up. I click in here, and now we can step through it line by line. Sorry, you have to be in the code to use the F8 button. I come in here, for I is equal to 1 to 10, step 2. So the first time through that loop, I takes the value 1, you can see it there, and output string now will have the character 1. When it comes up now, I is going to go in steps of 2, so it was 1 before, now it's 3, and now we have the string is there. That's not working. Okay, I'm going to have to do it again.